So it's strange, you know, I showed you the Naked Cowboys and I thought, oh great, I hope they land up in the Texas collection, of course now they're in the Tate. And this painting I did at the Tuileries Gardens, that's in Dallas, museum. This is a detail. I tried to sort of recreate a Renoir painting. So this is just a detail. Next, I think I've got the actual thing. This was the painting. This was the Tuileries Gardens. This was this Renoir-esque figure, but I changed her. I put her, for some reason, just at that time I was in Paris, there was a fashion, and it was summer too, summer and winter. So they brought back veils again, and it was great. So I did that, and instead of a sort of Renoir, I did a plastic umbrella too. And these are some figures from the Louvre. Next. I had a show in Poland. I don't know if many of you remember Mr. Grabowski. I don't know if you remember. Yes. He was a great guy. He was one of the first people to show Bridge Pop. And he had a chemist shop and an art gallery right opposite the Michelin building in Sarkan. And he was really innovative. Anyway, the point is, when he died, he left all his collection to Polish museums on the condition that they would document them and look after them. So I had a lot of my early paintings landed up in Poland, and because of that, they offered me a retrospective of my 62 work, and then I gave up painting for, when you saw those photographic works, I gave up painting for 13 years, and I was very involved in pretty left-wing politics. I was in a sort of Marxist organisation, so I didn't paint. And then I got back to painting again. So they showed all my work from painting, non-painting, back to painting again. And when I was in Poland, I did lots of drawings. And this is a drawing called Monument to the Heroes of Warsaw, a floating figure again. Next. More gouache works. This piece is called The Photographer. Next. I just put this one in because I did a show about 4 years ago in Texas. I was invited back to do a show, and it's called All in a Day's Work. And I thought we're so bombarded with images every day that I would go out in I think it's a 12-hour period, and I document as many, tear out from magazines or take photographs of images, and then I try to put them together formally. So near Santa Monica, there's a Frank Gehry building, one of Frank Gehry's first buildings, which is that. So I put all these things together, and the show consisted of one painting and 10 drawings, 10 works. So I did the painting, and then I took every single figure in the painting, or image, and I did a separate work. So it was one painting that was complete, and 10 works that took off from the painting. Next. I did a whole show about books and computers, and I took, Damoiselle d'Avignon, and it's now Monsieur d'Avignon. Changed the thing. That's quite a large painting, about 6 foot by 5 foot painting. Next. That's another one in the book series, Falling Books. Next. I did a series I had one show in Los Angeles, and it's all about images of Los Angeles. And I did every subject matter that I took within the subject matter of Los Angeles. I did 2 paintings. And I did a series called The Los Angeles Art Collectors. And you know how in magazines, collectors are always photographed, man and wife with their work next to them. So this is Mr. and Mrs. Oscar Cycladic. Because the Oscar is pretty much an image of Los Angeles, and I love Cycladic art, and it happens to be a lot of Cycladic art in Los Angeles. So that was next. Yeah, I did a whole series. So this is a detail of a painting. I just wanted to show you. I used to paint very, very thickly, in very thick oil paint, when I was in Texas, but for medical reasons I started to get numbness in the end of my fingers and toes, and I went to a doctor, and he said, "What are you?" I said, "I'm an artist." He said, "Do you use turpentine?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "That would do it." And I said, what do you mean? I said, I'm very careful. I know all about safety. For 10 years I've been wearing surgical gloves. He said, that would do it. He said, you might as well dip your hand in turpentine, because that's what happens. It goes through and the gloves hold the turpentine. And I lost some numbers. He said, you better not use turpentine. So that's when I switched to using acrylic. And I thought, well, how can I recreate the troughs and valleys of thick oil paint? And I decided that the use of pattern would do it. Use pattern to recreate what you get with the physicality of oil paint. So this is a detail of the next painting. Next, this is in the Los Angeles series. Ooh. I did all these transsexuals. Yeah, yeah. Actually, the reason I did these paintings, I went to an auction at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles, and a good friend of mine, actually at the same time as this exhibition opened, had arranged an auction of photographs. He's one of the biggest photographic galleries in Los Angeles, called Fahey Klein Gallery, and I'm very good friends with David Fahey. And he introduced me to all these transsexuals. And he took photographs of me standing next to them. When I saw these photographs come out, I looked so square. You know? I looked so preppy. You know? So I got interested in transsexuals. I started researching and I did these paintings. This is one. There might be another one. There is one. There he is. Yeah. These are life size, actually, over life size. Next. Okay.
Have they sold well?
Yeah, I did. Funny enough, other things sold and I've still got those. Which I'm glad, because, anyway.
You like them?
I like them, yeah, they're pretty. I don't do it myself. Now, the last few slides I'm going to show you are of my current show in Cork Street, Flowers Central Gallery in Cork Street. This is the detail of a painting which I based on the lifestyles of architecture and interior design magazines. Actually, David Hockney came to my studio in Los Angeles when I just finished this painting, and I said to him, I nearly put a bigger splash in there, but I didn't. I was going to, but I said, this is people looking at the Dan Flavin. Next, I think there's a big, that's the painting. It's quite large, it's 10 foot long. I hope you might get to the show someday. Next. Someone, you know, when you get reviews, you always like the good ones and hate the bad ones, you know, so what. But the good review for me is when I learn something from that. When I learned, one person wrote, actually it was Guy Brett, he wrote a catalogue. I did a show in Texas, and it was my 13 years in Texas, and I did a show in a museum called Derek Boshier, the Texas Years. And he did a very good essay, and it's an essay that I give to people if they want an overview of the whole of my career. And he pointed out one thing, not in the essay, but in the lecture he did, that I was very much, you could see, although I'm a very figurative artist, I'm very much influenced by abstract art. And I show you these details, because this is a detail of a painting. Next. This is a detail of that painting. This series of new paintings I've called the Chemical Culture series. And I've done a whole thing about drugs applied to various icons. You know, the cowboy image is an icon. When I saw this word crack, of course this is about crack cocaine, this particular one. Next. And it's all about altered states. This is a detail, of course. Next. This is called Shot in the Arm Cowboy. So I was trying to think how you deal with drugs. Drugs are really, all they are is altered states. So I thought this was a way I could deal with altered states. Next. This is another one. Detail. Next. This is called Chemical Rocker. Next. Detail. Quite interesting. Someone came up to me at my opening yesterday. There were two openings, one yesterday, one today. And someone came up to me yesterday and said, I want you to introduce you to someone. And she said, I'm a doctor. And she said, I recognise these. This is a DNA,
Yeah.
which I looked up. You know, I based all of them on. If I could find a DNA for a certain drug, I should. But it's great actually that someone recognised it. Next, I don't know. I can't remember now. But this is a chemical pop. This one's called. Next. Okay, this is a detail. Next. This is chemical track.
Wow.
So I'm looking at, pop singers, fashion models, cowboys, images, and altering them basically to altered states. Next. This is a painting that kicked them all off actually. This is called Model Citizen. Next. And I actually started the series off. Sometimes I never know if I'm starting a new series. I'm not quite sure what I want to do, but I know what I don't want to do. For instance, I have just been doing a whole series for 2 years. I've been working on the Iraq War theme, and I knew I didn't want to do that. And the Iraq War paintings were very complex. There was more than three figures in them. There were often several figures in. And I knew I wanted to do a single figure. And I thought I wondered what I wanted to do. I always look, my subject matter is always hot off the press. I always look at magazines and newspapers for my subject matter. And I was reading a lot in America about, what's the name of the model that went out with the rock singer? She got into
Kate Moss.
Kate Moss. So I was reading a lot of that, and I got intrigued about Kate Moss. So this starts off with Kate Moss basically, and she was pill popping. So I put these pills in. So that was the first painting, and then the cowboys and the athletes and the rock singers came later. Could be the last slide. Let's have one more. Okay.
Oh yes, what? This explains.
This is well, this painting came about. I was doing at the time that I was doing the chemical culture series. Earlier I had thought of doing a series of paintings called the dinner party. There's so many great dinner parties from the Last Supper onwards really, and I love dinner parties. And I was intrigued by them, and I decided to maybe I'll do a whole series. But at the moment I've only done one, and I don't know if I'm going to do any more. I'm going back to LA in November, and middle of November, and I've got a new series of work, and it's not to do with the dinner party. But curiously enough, I don't know, I love dinner parties, and I like that intrigue about what people keep asking me what this figure is. Well, it's a gargoyle, but I always say it's what people are not talking about. But I personally wanted to do, make figures very disparate, like they often are at dinner parties. And the other curious thing about this painting is everyone thinks it's their dinner party. Like, I showed it to one person, I said, oh, it's based on that dinner party I gave for you. And I said, how do you mean? They said, well, that's our lamp. And then someone else said, wow, that's the guy that's always talking about horses. They shoot horses, don't they? So that's how that one came about, basically. And I don't think I can remember.
Were drugs involved in this particular painting?
Well, I think they are really, slightly. You don't want to go back just one, if you can get it. Well, heroin is called horse, so there was that idea of putting some unusual. But there's a lot of things going on, like he's naked, for instance. So,
It's disgraceful.
Yeah, it's disgraceful. Yeah, no, I was just intrigued about the sort of dynamics of difference.